Felicia Berg with Family Promise of Yellowstone Valley, now with us here on Montana Talks. Felicia, great to see you, and I just love everything that you guys do. This is a remarkable 15,000 diapers. Tell us what you do with those.
So we have the community diaper bank at our day center. At our core, we are a homeless shelter for families, but we also have some programs for the community, and our diaper bank is one of those. So anybody in the community can come down to our day center and get enough diapers to last about a week and a half. So that mostly the people that are coming in for those diapers are people that are working, that have their kids in childcare, and you can't bring your kid to childcare unless you bring enough diapers to support that. So we see moms and dads that are just a few days away from payday that just need a little bit of help to get through, and diapers is one way, because if they don't have diapers, they can't go to daycare and then they can't go to work.
And those diapers get pricey. I mean,
yeah.
Man, I tell you, when your kid, it's like, for anybody who has kids, it's like the moment your kids are out of diapers, you're like, oh,
it's a party.
You're running around the house, So that's so remarkable, because talk about what Family Promise does, big picture. And because, dude, I remember right, is there something like 700 homeless kids just in the Billings schools alone? 700 kids that are homeless just in Billings alone.
Yeah, and that's what School District 2 has identified as homeless students. So we know that there's a bunch more. So when we're dealing with family homelessness, it's an issue where when parents don't have somewhere safe for their kids to go, it's shameful. They're embarrassed. They don't know if they ask for help, is CPS going to come in and take their children? So a lot of people, is what we call, those families are the hidden homeless of our area. But yes, they're in every school in our area, so I can pretty much guarantee where your child goes to school, there are homeless kids there. And you can't really tell because they look just like our kids, and they go to basketball and those type of things too. So it's a big issue, and it's something that has to be addressed.
Felicia, tell us again basically what you do with Family Promise, how you help these young homeless families, and there's so many of them across Montana.
Yeah, so we have our emergency shelter program, the Interfaith Hospitality Network. So we actually believe that family homelessness is not something that one person or one organization can solve, but if we all come together, then we can have a big impact. So we work with 30 different congregations in our community. 15 of those are host churches, and they actually take their Sunday school rooms or their nurseries and they turn it into family bedrooms for the families in our shelter. And they also provide, they have volunteers from the churches come and cook dinner and give encouragement throughout the night. And then we offer the wraparound and break the cycle of poverty programming through our shelter. There's intensive case management with our social worker. We really come alongside these families and help them. There's no quick fix to poverty. If there was, people would have given money and it would have been solved years ago, but it's not. It's deep-rooted issues that they've grown up with. Some of it is just mental blocks like, just get a job waitressing because you're not going to be anything. We're poor. That's how it's always going to be. That's how grandma was. And we really work with them to break that where you came from is not where you're going. And since starting the Wraparound and Break the Cycle of Poverty programming in our network, we've seen incredible results. For 2018, we actually have a 90% success rate. That's
wow.
Long-term success rate. A year after they leave our program, are they still housed? Are they still employed? Are they still maintaining their independence? And from what we see, they are.
Felicia, talk about how you use Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University-style planning to help these families not just get into a home, but get on the right path for the long term.
Absolutely. So we do teach the Dave Ramsey Financial Peace class twice a year to the families in our emergency shelter and also in our transitional housing apartments. And going through this program, it really starts to open their eyes that they can save. I like to ask the question, what would you do if you had $1,000 in your bank account? And a lot, when we start the class before they take it, they're like, that's never going to happen. All my bills and everything's gone before the next payday. And then we start going through the class and they start building up their savings. And then there's a comma in their savings. And then they're like on fire to do this program. It's actually working. They're paying off debt. A lot of the families that go through it actually leave close to debt-free or debt-free by the time they get out of an emergency shelter program. This last class, beginning of April, we had 9 families complete it, and they paid off over $13,000 of debt and saved over $28,000 in their savings account. And this is working minimum wage jobs while in a homeless shelter. They're killing it. They're killing it.
Wow, that's just incredible. Are there other organizations doing similar stuff across the state too? Or?
There are other Family Promise affiliates across the state that, but I'm not sure what their financial capability classes look like.
Sure, yeah. If you can, I don't want to put you on the spot, but because I've heard your personal story before, it's incredible too.
Yeah.
Tell a little bit about how you got involved with it.
So I'm now the development coordinator over there, and I do all of that stuff. But originally, I was a guest 5 years ago. I had been homeless in Billings for 10 to 15 years. I had 2 kids with me, and I finally just reached the end of my rope and was desperate enough and willing to try anything. And then this organization totally took me in. I made a lot of bad choices. I became homeless at 17 in Absaroka, Montana.
Oh, wow.
And moved to Billings. So it happens everywhere. A lot of bad choices, and didn't have the skills to be productive and know the life skills that I needed. And this program really took me under their wing and showed me how to do life in general, just how to function as a parent and hold a job and get transportation and all these things that I didn't have. So I'm pretty invested in the organization because I know the program works, and I love it now that I'm not in direct services with the clients. So when it's a hard program to go through with our social worker. They have lots of goals each week, and when they get frustrated, and they'll come back to me into my office and be like, "You just don't even know." And I'm like, "Oh, sweetie, sit down. Let me tell you my story."
Yeah.
And give them a little bit of encouragement,
Carries
which is
a lot
always
more weight. No, hey,
a
I've
blessing.
been there.
Yeah.
Suck it up, Buttercup. Right?
Yeah, and they can get through it. It's the last 5 minutes of this hard part, and then look at the success you can have afterwards.
That's and that's cool too, because in fact, Chris Tanto Paranto of Benghazi last night, he talked about the same thing when he was battling for 13 hours, fighting wave after wave of terrorists, and he pointed to the Vietnam veterans in the room, and he said, "I thought of you guys that had to do this day in and day out, and I thought I can do this. I can fight a little longer." And he said, he thought back on the history of the Army Rangers who jumped into, who jumped in and had no cover to hide from, and they just had to shoot their way off the LZ. I mean, it's just remarkable stuff like that.
I think as human beings too, we think we're alone, and then when we see if somebody else has done it and succeeded, and they're they've survived it, we feel empowered. Like, okay, I'm not alone. I can get this done too. And I think that happens in all walks of life.
You got somebody on your left and right. Felicia Bird with Family Promise of Yellowstone Valley. Always an honor to get to talk with you. And thanks for what you're doing. Congratulations. It's incredible.